So we're going to get started here and let people filter in. Welcome to ABCD OpenScholar. We're back from our summer hiatus, and we've got a brand new feature that we released earlier this month on September 1st. It's called Grouper. So we're going to talk a little bit about that integration today, what Grouper is and how it integrates with OpenScholar. The meeting format will be about the same. We'll speak for 45 minutes or so. Last 15 minutes, you can bring out your laptops. Joe and I can help you look at your site, answer any questions you have. So we still have the open help at the end. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to get started introing Grouper. Then Joe's going to take it from there. And then we have a special guest here today, Terry Connolly from IAM, who can get a little bit more into the various distinctions within Grouper. So yeah, we have name tags all around if you haven't grabbed one yet. And we will be recording this session as well, so I just wanted to inform you of that. We'll be posting the screen share up in our ABCD website as well as the relevant places in our documentation a little bit later on, the screen share as well as the slides themselves. Okay, so let's get started. Just a reminder, like we do every time, the different ways that you can get help aside from ABCD. We have our community forum, so report bugs there, ask questions, suggest new features. We will respond and take all that feedback into consideration. Documentation site, that should be your first line of defense for your questions regarding OpenScholar. Roadmap, this is the latest and greatest for all of our 3-week releases, software releases. So check that if you're interested about what's coming up and when the next release is going to be. And then we still have platform trainings every couple of weeks, 2.5-hour workshops. Come by if you need a refresher if you've never been. All right, now for Grouper. What is it? And how does it fit into Harvard? So Grouper, sometimes called Group Services, is a completely separate application that is now integrated in OpenScholar. It's a separate platform with its own brand and logo, which I believe pays homage to the grouper fish. But it is a separate thing, so we're weaving that into some of the OpenScholar functionality, as well as other applications are as well. The wiki is, as well as Canvas. They're integrating it in various aspects on their own, and also WordPress blog. And then probably there will be more integrations to come to use this groups data. So what Grouper does is it's a central location for the managing of groups of people. So it's just not all in these separate sources, and so you don't have to update every source every time a group or an affiliation changes with a specific person. So it can combine multiple sources of group information, some relatively automatically, but it also has the option to update manually as well. So you can add and take people away from certain groups if you have the right permissions and privileges. Has its own separate user interface for that, which I believe Terry will demonstrate a little bit later on. And then these groups Grouper controls access to which groups can access various applications and other platforms. And if somebody moves from a different affiliation or a new position with Harvard, if they're no longer a faculty member at FAS, for example, they will be inactive from that group and be active in the new group or various groups that they are now affiliated with. So it's a relatively seamless experience. All that data is centrally localized. And it's also designed for higher education in mind as well, because there are often a lot of different affiliations and hierarchical structure. It was the right choice for Harvard, so everybody's very excited that we have this. And OpenScholar is the first step in integrating this along the way. So yeah, I'm going to give it over to Joe, and he'll talk a little bit more about the OpenScholar side of Grouper.
Great. Awesome. So I'm Joe. I work at Harvard Web Publishing with Kate. Hope everybody had a good summer. We took the summer off, but we're starting up again this fall with ABCD OS, so thanks for joining us. So Grouper, one of the contexts in which Grouper came about in OpenScholar, and this is not the only context, but we have a platform called iSites. Most of you probably know what it is, but it's a web publishing platform that was built many years ago, and it's in the process of being decommissioned very shortly. And we're not talking about months, we're talking about less than that, very shortly. So one of the things that was built into iSites was the ability to have custom groups. And not only did it connect to these preset groups in the central LDAP directory, but you could create your own custom groups. So if you had their Harvard ID or their email address, you can create a page with a bunch of folks who could access only those folks could access a particular page on a website. You could have a different page with a different group access. And while OpenScholar is at a site level, you can have custom groups on the site, not on a page level. It does have some of the same functionality as did the iSites tool. Now the iSites tool is built in-house. Grouper is a product out there, third-party product. But one of the things when we were decommissioning iSites and onboarding them to all these different platforms across Harvard, Wiki, SharePoint, OpenScholar, wherever they fit, is to gather the requirements for what these custom groups were used for. So some of them were the private working groups, some meeting minutes, private video and multimedia, intranets, office hours, a lot of different. We just came across so many different uses for protecting content. So that was some of the reasons why this got pushed to OpenScholar to accommodate for these sites that were getting migrated. All right, so I'm going to do a real quick demo because I have enough time for Terry. So accessing Grouper got rolled into the site visibility settings. So those of you familiar with OpenScholar admin panel or control panel, you just, on the left there, you would just go into settings and then global settings, site visibility. And in there you see a brand new option, groups within the Harvard community. That's Grouper. We use the term Grouper, but OpenScholar uses it's a more descriptive option here. But it's the same thing. So it's pretty intuitive. Just so below that, you see an option to add groups. So if you click on that, you have this auto select feature. You can just type the name of a group that you're aware of, and it'll query all those groups and bring up a big list. And then you can actually go ahead and select the ones you want, up to 7 maximum. And any questions that you have, just hold on and we'll answer all of them at the very end. You can edit the groups that you have on your site. And like I said, this is on a site level, not on a page level. If you have a website where you need 2 different groups to access certain content, then what you need to do in OpenScholar is create a separate site and apply that other group to it. So to edit your groups, you click Edit Groups. And then it's the same picker where you can add a new group, and you just click on it, and then both of those groups will be there. And you can delete them the same way. So it's pretty simple, right? I'll give you a live demo. Let's get out of this. Exit full screen. I got a new Mac and everything is automated, so I'm getting used to it. Okay, so I'm logged into this test site here, and I go into my site visibility, kind of just reproducing what we just did. You first get here, you see the new groups within community. I'm going to go add groups. There's a lot of them here, but I know the one I want. Active employees and FAS. And I'm going to scroll down and click Save. It takes a couple minutes to take effect, but after that point, only those folks who are employed or active users in FAS will be able to access the site. So I can go back in and make edits to that. Click Edit Groups. So if I have a site that's cross-school collaborative and for some reason I want these two groups to be part, I just add it that way. And clicking the X, obviously will remove them. And it's simple as that. So every time you make a change, there's a slight delay before it takes effect. I decided this is not the right group, so I can just click the X here. And that's it. Just to show you where it is and how to use it. Pretty simple. So hold your questions for a minute. I'm going to bring Terry up, and she's going to go into a lot more detail.